Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're doing an overview of Dark Knight, a true Batman story. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're doing an overview of this wonderful graphic novel, a true Batman story. This is Dark Knight, Night, not KN, like you normally see with Batman. This is written by Paul Dini and drawn by Eduardo Risso. It is a graphic novel. This is the hardcover. It is available in softcover and is published by Vertigo. This was like one of the last things Vertigo published before its demise. So there's the inside of the hardback here and the back. Eduardo Risso is a phenomenal artist. You've probably read his stuff. If you've only read mainstream stuff, it's probably Flashpoint Batman most recently. He did Batman Broken City with Azzarello, which is the run that followed up Hush in the Batman stories. Batman 615 or something like that. I think that's going on. And then most famously, he is the artist who drew all 100 issues of 100 Bullets and then did Brother Lono a little bit after that. So this is an original graphic novel. It's one story all the way through. It's not collecting anything. It's just a graphic novel. This is the way it came out. And it's written by Paul Dini. Paul Dini, if you didn't know, is one of the co-creators of Harley Quinn, right? He worked on Batman, the animated series in the 90s as a writer. He's written for Marvel. He's written for DC. I think the most recent stuff he wrote was Batman Detective Comics and Batman Streets of Gotham. He's done some other things here and there. He's worked on a lot of animated shows with Warner Brothers specifically, like Tiny Toons. I don't know if he was on Ben 10 or stuff like that, but this is basically like a memoir almost, a graphic novel memoir of the time in the 90s when he was working on Batman where he got beat the crap out of, and how he overcame it using the characters of Batman in his head. So it's really a fun story. It's a story of how a guy overcomes adversity using the characters in his head that he loves to kind of drive him forward. He talks about his love of Batman here. Again, you got Eduardo Risso doing phenomenal artwork. And it's still in Eduardo Risso's style, but he's kind of altered it a little bit to make it look a little bit more realistic. Here, you're in the writer's room of Batman the Animated Series. You got Bruce Timm over here. I'm sure Eric Radomski is this guy right here. I've watched all the special features of all this, so I can name a couple of these like cartoony faces. Anyways, it's phenomenal stuff. So you got Risso changing up his art style depending on what he's telling. Call back to the Acme storyline with Looney Tunes right here. So lots of Warner Brothers. And now we're shifting into like the 100 Bullets style that Eduardo Risso usually has. This kind of very dark, heavy blacks, heavy inks style of when the attack happens and kind of the aftermath. One would think that this is not a story that you would want to read in a comic book, right? Like it's just kind of this weird, solemn story of a guy who gets beat up and feels bad about himself and feels sad, and he's kind of imagining what would happen if Batman found the guys that beat him up, so that's drawn here. He feels like he's kind of Two-Face, that kind of stuff. He's all beat up, and at the same time he's still working for Batman the animated series. You got Batman yelling at him, telling him how he's a loser, how he's a punk, how he should go out there and find those guys and beat them up, and then at the same time he's using an Emmy to hurt himself. It's kind of weird. So again, who knows how much of this is true and how much is the story, but it is really a phenomenal story. Like if you're interested in a Batman story, like if you like Batman Arkham Asylum by Grant Morrison, this is a book worth seeking out. It's very I don't want to call it mental, but it takes place in its own head. It's very not head casey, but it's just very like heady, very out there in terms of the way he's presenting the story. And I think that is why I loved it so much, because it's this way to tell this memoir and introduce his thoughts using the characters of Batman and everybody else that he's writing to kind of be that, the angel and the devil on his shoulder tell him what he should do, and then as he tells the story of how he got over it and how he overcame it. So it's a really, really fantastic story, fantastically drawn by Eduardo Risso. And my hope is this becomes a new Batman classic. But I don't know that it will, because it's kind of fallen out of, I don't know if it's out of print or just it never took off. I think people, they were thinking, a true Batman story by Paul Dini. They were thinking it's going to be like some of the stories he wrote for Batman the Animated Series rather than the memoir. And I'm willing to bet the memoir part of it turned a lot of people off and they just didn't read it. But I'm telling you here now that Dark Knight is worth seeking out. It is a phenomenal graphic novel, and it should be one of the new classic graphic novels, if not one of the new classic Batman stories. It's phenomenal. Go seek it out. Let me know what you guys think of this story down below. We will see you guys in the funny pages.